Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Nathanias here with another Root Gaming game to cast. It's StarCraft 2, of course. And we're going to be playing on Acheron Wastes. It's a Protoss versus Terran. And just looking at who is in this game, we should have a very, very interesting match. Of course, this is part of, I guess, my announcement of me joining Root. So just wanted to have a couple of games prepared for you guys. This is from the 2.0.7 patch. And already an interesting little bit of chat at the start of this game. We're gonna have in the top left position. Let's introduce our players. The red Terran player from Europe. It is HTO Mario. This guy, by the way, goes mech every single game, so I can imagine why Puck sent me this replay to be used for the announcement. But in the bottom right position, as I just pretty much introduced, we have our blue Protoss player. One of the more creative Protosses in the North American scene. It is Root's very own Puck. Gotta say I love Puck. Had a very interesting experience when we first met. I was actually just streaming myself, had about 20 or so viewers, and I get a message on Battle.net from someone named Puck, and I had absolutely no idea who Puck was at all. And next thing I knew, we were playing a couple of games on Shakuris Plateau, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go two-port Banshee or something versus this weird Protoss noob. And the next thing I know, Puck's flying around my base with a Colossus inside of a warp prism that's moving at the speed of light. And the missiles from the Banshee actually couldn't hit the Colossus because Puck would just pick it up right before it made contact. So, if you guys don't know much about Puck, that's one of the Puck's trademarks, as it were. At least for Protoss versus Terran. Don't see it too much these days. Don't think we'll see it this game. But double gas opening with a cybernetics core for our Root Protoss. And, well, it looks like we're going to have a pretty fast double gas, actually, from our Terran player, Mario. He's not started his factory yet. He is building a Reaper to open up with. So, going for a double gas this fast, 2 SCVs per refinery. This is a very weird opening from the Terran player. Actually, I've actually casted and seen a lot of Mario's games, but this specific opener I'm not terribly familiar with. So, this should actually be a pretty interesting game here. I'd expect it to be a reactor or a factory or something as the follow-up to this, but the factory is actually going to get placed right next to the command center, so it's not going to go for any kind of early add-on, although Mario is going to build a reactor, which is kind of interesting. But Puck opening up with a Stalker. We use this to most likely expand. Puck does have quite a bit of resources banked up, and, well, no, it's going to be actually a robotics facility pretty early here, so Puck must know, playing against Mario multiple times, that he goes mech every game. So it is not one of the hardest players to read, but definitely opens up aggressively to compensate for the fact that, of course, mech is very difficult to achieve versus Protoss, just due to how vulnerable you are in the early game. So command center on the way for Mario. Yeah, it's like not really any Terran builds that involve going for 2 SCVs per gas. It's kind of interesting. Usually only see that on Protoss builds, but Puck is going to start up that Nexus, and Puck's kind of dancing that Stalker, and we'll be able to take it out, no problemo. And of course, Puck has the Mothership Core as far as defending any kind of aggression that could come from the Terran player. But we do have a pretty quick tank on the way for Mario. Double Marine production is on the way as well. Command Center will be done soon, but Puck got that robotics facility. We do. Oh my goodness, Puck's actually gonna do it. Oh my god. I just said at the start of this game, I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't know if Puck is gonna actually, I don't think Puck will do it, because I haven't seen Puck do this in forever. But there's that robotics bay. The warp prism is coming in, and oh my goodness, we could see a Colossus speed prism drop from our Root Gaming Protoss player. If you guys have never seen this, you are in for a treat. Warp Prism will be done very soon. It's actually already rallied out. Kind of curious what exactly Puck intends to do with this, but the time it takes to research Warp Prism speed is actually 5 seconds more than the time it takes to build a Colossus, so it is very, very easy to pull this build off if you have the resources at the proper time. And of course, Chrono Boost on each of these. As you can see, the robotics bays Gravitic Drive only takes 80 seconds. The Colossus takes 75 seconds. So Puck scouting with the Mothership Core, throwing down a Time Warp on those SCVs, trying to buy a little bit of time, slowing down Mario. And Mario does have a couple of tanks on the field. Mario has a solid number of Marines, but the siege tank positioning is going to be very easy to abuse with this build that Puck is going for. And behind this, Puck's actually only on 2 gateways. It's a pretty greedy build, but you kind of rely on your opponent not going for the craziest fast timings. And Colossi are going to end up being strong versus any kind of mech play anyway, so that Colossus is about to pop out for our Root Gaming Protoss player. Puck has the Colossus, time to pick it up and football this bad boy over, of course, now that Warp Prism has that speed boost. So this bad boy does move at quite a fast pace. Extended Thermal Lance is going to be the follow-up here as well. And, well, Mario has 3 tanks to defend the natural expansion, but there's nothing really in the main that can deal with this 100%. The Mothership Core is kind of tucked behind here, and probably the weirdest spot ever. Mario realizes, I only need 3 Marines to kill it. I'm just going to stand here, but Puck could recall it in a couple of seconds. If Puck really wanted to, but now the Warp Prism is here. The Colossus beginning to unload some damage upon these units. There is a missile turret here. Puck will have to be very careful watching out for that. Colossus is going to drop, trying to take out a couple of these units. The Siege Tank is going to try to take out this Colossus, but will not be able to. And once that Thermal Lance finishes, this Colossus is going to be really hard to stop. The tanks are coming here trying to micro around it, but this is actually going to open up a possibility for Puck to try to do something else. And yeah, Puck's just kind of chilling. Wait for the Siege Tanks to go away. And that 3rd command center has been significantly delayed as well. Puck's going to run over towards that mineral line, picking up a couple of more SCVs. Currently 5 kills on the Colossus. And this is one of those really crazy builds that you don't really see that much. Mario is going to get those 2 factories additional. So, as I stated, Mario just goes mech every single game. It's one of the things that he's known for. He streams quite a bit himself. But Puck's moving up to 3 gateways. We have another robotics facility coming in. I'm realizing, my opponent's going to go mech. I could go something like Immortals, and I gotta say, not a bad idea. Puck now using that Colossus, picking off even more SCVs, and Puck's being very cost-effective with this. Total resources lost, 500 for Mario, 0 for Puck. And of course, Puck can use the Observer to see if the army tries to move out or do anything, shaving these Marines away to death. The one thing that will favor Mario is that the tanks, of course, do have a good amount of range, 7, 1 more than a Marauder, and their attacks hit instantly, so it's hard to dodge the attacks of a tank with the Warp Prism, but Gravitic Boosters, Observer Speed is on the way for Puck, as well as Immortal Production, so double Immortal Production actually for our Root Gaming Protoss player, so this is going to really help in dealing with the Siege Tanks. The Warp Prism's headed over towards the main base. There's not really too much space here to drop. Going to drop right on top of the tank and using that splash damage to hurt the tank, which is a pretty nice play. Warping in Zealots right on top of the tanks as well, now dropping that Colossus. This is going to make things really difficult for Mario to deal with. The Zealots soak up so much of the damage, microing that Colossus in and out of the Warp Prism. Puck is just really laying down a bit of pain here upon Mario. Still barely lost anything. I don't even know. Has the Zealot died? 1 Zealot has died so far. Presumably these next 2 will as well. The Warp Prism needs to be a bit careful, but Puck's Colossus has 15 kills, going to back off now. And with that range upgrade, it's a lot easier to micro. It can actually micro versus all of these units with that range advantage. Now we see Puck's APM spiking up quite high during this little bit of a maneuver here. And yeah, this is one of the most cool things. And at the same time, Puck has an observer outside of the front of Mario's base. He'll be able to see Mario moving out if Mario tries to, at least. But Puck kind of has like a nice little stranglehold here. The Colossus kind of prevents Mario from moving out, of course. Puck is going to go into double Colossi production as well. Does have still a couple of mortals on the field, and some scans are going down. Mario wants to know what's going on here, checking for 3rd bases. And we'll see that Puck is getting up a 3rd base, so Mario needs to be a little bit more careful. These Vikings on the field are going to help out finally. There are double reactor starports on the field for Mario, which is going to be very useful in terms of dealing with this Warp Prism. But Warp Prism with speed moves way faster than Vikings, and now Puck's going to be able to continue to come in here and put on more harass. And this is just a nice little bit of a play. That 3rd base not yet landed for Mario. Puck now is beginning to saturate that 3rd Nexus as well. At the same time, Charge coming in, +1 attack. And this is, the supply-wise, this is actually still a very close game. The Vikings are trying to find that Warp Prism, will barely miss Puck's Warp Prism, and ooh, Puck's going to try to run in there. Oh, this is such a risky, oh my goodness, the Vikings do catch the Warp Prism. Puck needs to get out of there. No, Puck's going to try to just drop the Colossus into the main base, but the Warp Prism will die, and Puck will lose the hero Colossus as well. But the game's still in a pretty even position. Puck was able to get up to 3rd base with no problem at all, which is one of the hardest things to do in Protoss versus Terran. And now Puck's actually adding on a 3rd robotics facility, so the scans from Mario don't really reveal too much of what Puck has. So now with additional immortals being added into the composition here, this is going to make it so good versus this number of siege tanks. Mario's going to need to use the Hellbats to bank a lot of that damage, to tank it, excuse me. And, well, Puck now getting up a couple of photon cannons to help defend as well. And, yeah, when it comes to mech versus Protoss, some of the units that are going to be the most cost-effective, at least in Heart of the Swarm. Zealots with Charge are not as good as they were in Wings of Liberty, just because of how good Hellbats are. But the Colossus still remains very strong versus Hellbats. Immortals are pretty strong versus... Actually not that terrible against Hellbats, but they kind of trade even, sort of. But the Immortals are going to be able to blast through the tanks. Of course, the Colossus range will be huge. And, ooh, double Hellbat drop on the way out for Mario. This Observer will be able to see one of those medevacs moving across the field. So Puck should be able to set up a reasonable defense to hold that off. Puck has an Observer outside of the airspace of Puck's third to be able to watch that as well. +1 vehicle plating is about to complete for Mario. Does he have +1? No, he's going for armor on his mech. That's interesting. He's not going for any attack upgrades. At the same time, Puck's about to complete +2 and +1. So with the double Hellbat drop moving in, one at the top, one at the bottom, Puck's got to be very careful in dealing with this. These Hellbats can kill so many probes so fast. The drop is moving on to the right side towards where the natural is. 2 cannons can be able to defend that pretty damn well. But the real question is, will there be enough defenses here? Oh, the probes are going to get pulled pretty damn fast. Puck not going to lose anything really here. Some good solid control. Puck manages not to throw away anything at all. Nice play. Hellbat Jump's going to hit the natural expansion. These Hellbats are trying to get the probes, but not too much killed here by Mario. The cannons and the Colossus able to clean that up quite quickly. Another Jump's going to hit back into the third base. So far, Mario has killed 5 probes. He's trying to get a couple more down to 7. And in all honesty, guys, this is actually just even things out. Puck already killed 8 SCVs earlier on with that Colossus in the Warp Prism. So Mario's going to need a little bit more damage if he wants to bring this game a lot closer. 11 Immortals on the field right now for Puck. Mario Scan sees this and he's like, well, going Hellbat heavy will help in terms of tanking that damage, but it is so hard to deal with this many Immortals as a Terran player. Tanks are just not good versus them. Widow Mines now being added in, and this is a slightly interesting decision, of course. The Colossi will really be able to shred those, and Puck's building 3 Warp Prisms. Oh my goodness. Oh my god. Is Puck gonna... 2 more Warp Prisms are coming out for Puck. Is Puck gonna drop the Immortals onto the tanks? This could be madness. There's a good number of Vikings, but I guess they might be distracted with the Colossi when that time comes. There are yeah, there's Immortals. Oh my god, Puck has 5 Warp Prisms loaded with Immortals. What on earth am I... This is like the new Golden Fleet here coming out for Puck. Oh my god. I don't ever actually see this. I have not had the displeasure of this happening on ladder. Double Banshee production coming out now for Mario. He wants to move into a very aggressive airplay to try to deal with the Immortals, realizing that Puck doesn't have too much ground forces as far as anti-air goes. 4 more Immortals being chrono boosted out, and Puck is going to try to find a position to drop off, possibly steal a ton of damage to the infrastructure in the main base. Those tanks are all in the natural. It could be hard to deal with this, but now Mario sees in the sensor tower is like, oh my goodness, there are 5 things coming in. What are they? They're all Warp Prisms. Puck is going to move in now towards that third base, dropping all of the Immortals, some of them not out just yet. And this is a very weird setup. Puck can actually kill this command center very fast if Puck tried to. I feel like this is a really, really big investment, and I'm not so sure how exactly this is going to pay off terribly well. The Immortals have managed to kill off quite a bit. A lot of SCVs died, but the Immortals all died, and this is a very expensive drop to go for. Also losing 2 of those Warp Prisms. I'm not sure how cost effective that is for Puck. Resources lost tab, yeah, it's now starting to favor Mario. That's a very weird type of play to go for, but Puck is now going to go into a couple of Stargates, triple Stargate, and adding in more Immortals. So there are also some High Templar on the field now. They do have access to that Psionic Storm ability. But +3 mech armor is on the way for Mario, as well as +2 vehicle weapons. So Puck, though, getting +3 armor. Puck already has that +3 attack upgrade, and now it's just going to come down to what Puck wants to go for. Puck has the 4 bases. Still on even bases, actually, with Mario. We do have a double Storm job moving out, but Mario has so many missile turrets. It's actually kind of sickening how much anti-air defense there is here to stop the drops. And the Vikings moving out for Mario. Puck's got to be careful. 1 Warp Prism doesn't get sniped. The second one as well. There's another Warp Prism with High Templar headed over towards this third base, though. Is Puck going to be able to get in there in time to deal some damage to Mario? The missile turrets unleashing the pain. The Templar out, though. The storms do hit the SCV lines, but is it enough? I'm honestly not that sure. 10 more SCVs have died, so not terrible play here from Puck. Really trying to hurt Mario's economy. It's 62 SCVs to 72 probes. And when both players have very immobile armies, it's so hard to properly deal with this, and Mario, not throwing down scans, wants to see the expansions of Puck. Mario should realize that if Puck is able to get this base up, this is going to make things so hard. Triple Tempest production on the way for our Root Gaming Protoss player. And this is so weird. The composition for Mario has really evolved, though. We've got 10 Siege Tanks, 10 Widow Mines, a Thor, 2 Ravens, about 10 Vikings. This is a bit of an everything composition here from Mario. He's got every single mechanical unit you can really build as a Terran player, aside from, of course, battle cruisers, and I guess do Hellbats count as Hellions? I don't even know anymore, since they're technically biological. Mixing in ghosts as well. Mario is going for the perfect composition, is pretty much what he wants. EMPs to take out the Immortals, Vikings and Ravens to take out the Tempest, and possibly Void Rays, tanks to take out everything on the ground, but I feel like the tank count might be too low to hold off this many Immortals. He should be able to punch through a lot of this, and the problem is the Vikings and Ravens not going to be that great for actually killing off Puck's bases with this many photon cannons protecting each of them. So it looks like Mario is going to try to push out. This is going to be so important for Puck. Is Puck going to be able to take this out? Hellbats are pushing that bottom left base, and ooh, the Ghosts are here throwing down a couple of EMPs. Puck needs to be so careful in dealing with this push. The Tempest, though, they are here. Puck does have that excellent range advantage. He needs to be so careful, though, because the point defense drone is super effective versus Tempests. I don't know, this is such a rough spot to be in, but it looks like Mario is going to try to push in. I feel like he's overextending himself a little bit. He needs to get his tank sieged up. The Widow Mines are going to burrow, but not fast enough. Puck takes them all out without them doing any real damage. Oh my goodness gracious, Puck taking an absolutely amazing engagement here. The Immortals blasting through. The majority of the firepower is gone. Those Ravens have their energy spent. The Hellbats will be able to kill this bottom left Nexus, but at what cost? Puck still maxed out now. 3 more Tempests on the way. And a really great engagement. Mario threw away all those Widow Mines and got absolutely nothing for them. I feel like he didn't need to push up the ramp that hard. He had a very powerful army, possibly strong enough to take out Pucks in the proper circumstance, but now Mario's lost all the really good units. He's lost all of his Hellbats. He's lost all but one of his Ghosts. His Ravens are pretty much depleted on their energy. There's only one Raven left that has energy for a point defense drone. And well, the Viking count, it's not going to be enough to stop this many Tempests. Puck has so much on the field. He's scanning, sees what Puck has. 7 Tempests are on the field right now, guys. 2 more about to come in. We have a nuke on the way and 2 more starports for Mario, so he is going to try to set up a proper defense to hold this off, but Puck moving in with those Tempests, has that +1 attack, has that +1 shields, +2 shields and +3 attack are on the way for Puck. Puck has the Observer as well. More Vikings are on the way for Mario, but is it going to be enough? I'm honestly not so sure. This is such a very powerful composition from Puck, and while there are maybe a lot of tanks, there are so many Immortals here, possibly Secret Missile to clean the shields off, but now the Templar here as well. They can storm the Vikings, and Puck will storm those Vikings. The Tempests are unleashing a ton of pain. The Immortals completely obliterating all of these siege tanks so fast. The Colossus adding in its damage as well. The Immortals really punching through, and it looked like Mario almost had a chance of holding off the Immortal pressure, but you know what? Those tanks do not do any damage at all thanks to that hardened shield, and Mario dropping below 100 supply is in a very rough spot. Puck still has a lot of economy, now taking a base in the top right area of the map. Scans going down for Mario, trying to pick off these Tempests somehow, but there's not enough Vikings on the field. There is a nuke available for Mario, and this is pretty much his only chance of being able to win this game. He needs to land a money nuke and kill everything Puck has. The problem, nukes do a maximum of 300 damage to a unit, so any of these Tempests that have a single shield point are going to be pretty hard to kill with a nuke. And, well, Mario is actually trying to engage here straight onto the Tempest with his Vikings, but now the Immortals are back. We have the Archons as well to take out the Vikings at the same time, and there's the GG. Puck takes this game. Talk about your intense Protoss versus Terran mech. Mario is one of those, he's the mech master as far as Terran versus Protoss goes. Like I said, he does this every single game. His defense setups were pretty much perfect, but the problem was once you lose your actual mech army, it is so hard to replace it, especially when you need to get up so many Vikings. Mario, he had the 2 starports move back over to the reactors, but he just couldn't get those Vikings in time. So great game here from our Root Gaming Protoss. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that cast. That's pretty much it, the last of 3 that I have done. So you can check out the other release announcement casts of me joining Root, that being Theognis and Vibe. Theognis versus Demaga, and vibe versus the barcode players. So hopefully you guys enjoy these games. Make sure you follow Root Gaming's YouTube channel, which you're on right now. And yeah, I look forward to putting out some more awesome content for Root Gaming and being able to watch these awesome players continue to do what they love. This is Nathanias, signing off.